Seize the computer, that's easy. Talk to Commander Spock. T.
I advise referring to the star map and setting a course for the Onius system, Captain.
Onius.
Onius 2, a Class M planet in a system consisting of 3 unformed planets. Because of the high level of micrometeorite activity in the system, it is unusual for a Class M planet to exist. The planet is not inhabited and is not scheduled for colonization.
Not scheduled for the colonization. Let's check the sounds at this point. I think the sound effect could be like slightly lower. DOSBox sounds. Okay. That's fine. So Onius 2 and... Okay.
Arming weapons. Raising shields.
Okay, next thing we are going to need to check from the star map. This is like a old-fashioned copy protection. So printed manuals were a thing back in the day. So we need to like check for Onius is 11, and it's over there. It's going to be like a battle if you don't take the wrong one. I think it's this. And we exploded.
Onius 2, Captain.
It may be nothing, Captain, but a scan of the planet's atmosphere indicates a high concentration of rare gases trapped in the planet's magnetosphere. Atmospheric disturbances could produce random radio waves.
It wouldn't be the first time, Mr. Spock, but we'll never be able to tell if we don't check it out. After all, to seek out new life and new civilizations is our mission, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
A split infinitive, Captain.
What?
The proper grammatical expression is to go boldly where no man has gone before.
Somehow, I think it loses a little in the translation.
Nah. Standard orbit was...
Entering standard orbit.
Fascinating, Captain. Sensors indicate only 2 faint life forms. It is difficult to distinguish, given the discharges in the planet's magnetosphere. It is, however, safe to transport to the planet's surface.
We haven't met any planet where you couldn't breathe, so... Okay, then...
Captain, the shields are up. Lowering shields, Captain.
Captain, our sensors will not be particularly useful to you while you're down there, and communications may be erratic, sir.
We'll be fine, Lieutenant. What reason is there to worry?
I'm afraid, Captain, there are plenty of precedents. We'll be here if you need us.
I have no doubt of that.
I have tracked the signal to its source. It is near the life forms. The rest of the planet is quite desolate. No sign of life or technology. The atmosphere is thin, but breathable, and I detect numerous micrometeorite hits.
There are 3 unformed planets in this system. It's no wonder. There are so many micrometeorites. I'm surprised any Class M planet hasn't been pulverized by now.
It is not inconceivable, but it is certainly unusual.
Let's do it, Spock. You, McCoy, and I. Oh, and tell Bones to see if a genetic specialist's available. If there are only 2 life forms, we might be privileged to see life at its earliest stages.
No red shirt.
Seems to me as if we've landed on a skeleton after the vultures have picked it clean.
A fascinating analogy, Doctor. Captain, the locus of the distress signal is in that building.
I think the doctor is right. Anything good here died a long time ago. It feels creepy to me.
Thank you for that opinion, Mr. Johns. I'll be certain to use creepy in my log entry about this.
Nah.
Save new game.
Let's start to scan things.
As improbable as it might seem, I am getting multiple life form readings from inside this building. My readings indicate that a force field was here until very recently.
Okay, that's interesting.
I tell you, Jim, if I could get my operating room as sterile as this planet, I'd be overjoyed.
So it's a sterile planet.
Well, I have to hand it to whoever built this place. All this equipment looks brand new and in good repair.
Let's hope the Enterprise looks this good when it's this old.
We should be very careful about how we proceed, Captain. I have a strange feeling that evil is lurking nearby.
Evil, Ensign?
Something that wants to imperil our souls, sir. We must avoid that at all costs.
Okay, good point. Good point.
This DNA sequencer appears to be nearly 50,000 years old, yet it has not broken down and appears to be fully powered.
That's probably powered by Linux.
Aside from some dust and dirt and a small chemical deposit on the intake nozzle, this DNA replicator appears to be in the same condition that it was 50,000 years ago.
Actually, if there's some evil around, I want to look around first. Can we move? Okay, so we can.
An antenna. I wonder what it was meant for.
That's what we're here to find out.
Probably sending messages. Can we move anywhere else?
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. The focal point of the dish is aligned approximately 35 degrees above the horizon.
Unlike the rocks surrounding it, the sensor array dish looks fairly new.
Captain, until power has been returned to these controls, there is nothing I can do. This appears to be similar to Federation technology, Captain.
Similar.
Its control principles are similar to the Medaille sensor dish on Vulcan. It has locked the array at a 35-degree angle. Without knowledge of the code control sequence, I cannot adjust it. I also detect that its power core is not functioning.
Geothermal energy. Okay.
I hope they didn't pay the landscapers very many credits for this work.
You know, Jim, this is not the kind of place to inspire homesickness.
Aside from this sensor array, there is nothing unexpected here.
Okay. That's interesting. I think we forget to do this.
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician. There are some things I just can't fix.
Can you get the DNA?
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a
Okay.
Captain, Ensign Johns would be the ideal person to operate this device. This device is curiously similar to the DNA replicators back on the Enterprise.
Captain, we have to run a set of source samples through the sequencer before I can make a composite sample with the replicator.
Core samples.
There are life form readings just to the east and west of this room. There are life form readings just to the east and west of this room. This DNA sequencer appears to be nearly 50,000 years old, yet it has not broken down and appears to be fully powered. There are life form readings just to the east and west of this room.
Okay.
Readings indicate that along with oxidation and dust, there is some organic residue in the crust-like buildup.
Okay, can we now scan it with the...
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician.
Okay, he doesn't want to do it.
Save new game. Cancel. Save. Replace. Delete. Replace previous.
Let's release that. So it's inside the crust.
A unique use of a phaser, but adequate for removing the deposits from the apparatus.
Ah, okay. Can you now do something with that?
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician. There are some things I just can't fix.
It is a fully functional genetic replicator, Captain.
Okay, so now it works. So how does this work?
It is a fully functional This DNA sequencer appears to be nearly 50,000 years old, yet
Right hand rule. Let's see if there's a monster that eats us. Then again, this isn't Sierra game, so...
Greetings, gentle beings, and welcome.
Okay.
I am Azra of the Omegan people. You are the salvation we have long sought. Thank you for answering our summons.
An angel!
actually, it is the projected image of an angel, Mr. Johns.
Jim, somewhere in that machine behind the portal are single-cell organisms. They have a healthy metabolism and long lifespan, but an extremely low rate of reproduction.
Okay. Scan everything.
This casing is constructed from a uranium alloy and contains computer equipment, an image projector controlled from the keyboard, a communications relay, a genetic bank behind that porthole, and a slot with which to take samples from the genetic bank. The computer is quite sophisticated, Captain, with encoded engrams similar to Dr. Daystrom's M5 computer program, which would indicate artificial intelligence.
Oh. M5 was evil.
This casing is constructed from a uranium alloy and contains computer equipment, an image projector controlled.
Okay, you already said that.
Energy levels behind this glass are more than sufficient for having powered the distress signal we received. This projection is being cycled at 1,000 frames a second, which suggests the equipment was designed to function in the presence of a race that has a sharper visual acuity than the human or Vulcan races.
Good frame rate.
Whatever he is, he's not alive. I get no readings at all from him. The enclosure behind this porthole is teeming with life. Billions and billions of creatures. There's something wrong with the piece of his genetic code that controls reproduction. I've never seen such a low reproductive rate in an organism that's this simple. I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician. There are some things I just can't fix. I'm detecting a lot of life within that porthole, Jim.
Lot of life, but it's not reproducing. Let's check the chat. Okay, no chat.
So where's the emergency? Greetings, I am James. So where's the emergency?
Where's the emergency?
Greetings, I am James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. What can we do for you? All right, I know you're just a projection. Let's speak with your real master. So where's the emergency? Greetings, I am James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. What can we do for you?
I am Azra of the Omegan people, an ancient and venerable race which labors to prevent the domination of this world by the forces of darkness. We require you to expunge this place of our mortal enemies.
Captain, the most worthwhile purpose in life is to fight against the forces of darkness. We must help him.
Enemies? This world is so barren that all the life on it is located right here. If you have mortal enemies, we've not seen them. Who are you talking about?
About maybe it's a virus.
Our directive prohibits us from taking part in wars on one side or the other. It would be seen as intervention. We are willing to negotiate a compromise. You will forgive me if I don't fall for a pretty face. I'm not about to expunge anyone. And I will take no action until I've heard both sides of the story. Enemies? This world is so barren that all the life on it is located right here. If you have mortal enemies, we've not seen them. Who are you talking about?
I speak of the Alphans, of course.
Alpha and Omega.
They are foul, cold creatures who pervert even the most sacred ideas. They cling to the heretical belief that life began within darkness. Of course, we recognize light as the life bringer. All things began in a brilliant, life-giving burst of light.
A burst of light? That's a common motif in creation stories.
Or in accordance with the Big Bang theory of the universe's creation.
You must expunge the world of the Alphans. This is why I called you here. I know you can accomplish what you need to do with the equipment that is present. Be warned, Visner can be very persuasive. I await your report of success.
Okay, so let me guess that the second guy is in a second room. Mortal enemies. Because mortal enemies apparently share the same house. Apparently.
I welcome you, otherworlders. I beseech you, save us from that which seeks our destruction.
How fitting for a devil to appear on a world that looks like hell.
Enough of that, Mr. Johns. This is just another xenobiological entity.
Correction, Doctor. This is a projection of a xenobiological entity.
Jim, the only life form readings are within that machine behind the portal. Single-cell organisms with an extremely high reproductive rate, but a very poor metabolism and an extremely short...
Ah, okay, that's why they are enemies. Huh.
The computer is functional, but I detect no connection between the keyboard and the machine itself. Apparently, it was designed this way. Nothing unusual about that object, Captain. Energy levels behind this glass are more than sufficient for having powered the distress signal we received.
But it's the other guy who... other aliens that sent the message.
This projection is being cycled at 1,000 frames a second, which suggests the equipment was designed to function in the presence of a race that has a sharper visual acuity than the human or Vulcan races.
So basically builder is the same. Whoever built...
I'm just a simple country doctor. I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician. There are some things I just can't fix. The glass-lined enclosure beyond this porthole is teeming with life. Literally billions and billions of creatures reside herein. The genetic pattern seems unusually stunted. It's almost as though something's missing. Whatever he is, he's not alive. I get no readings at all from him. Whatever he is, he's not alive.
Greetings, I am James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. What can we do for you? So, when do the wicked witches and goblins show up? Your emergency beacon and statement lead me to believe you see more of an emergency than exists here. Greetings, I am James T.
I am Visner of the Alphen people. Our race possessed this world and thrived here until the invasion by the forces of light. We are locked in a death struggle with them, for they desire our destruction. Do you aid them?
No, we do not aid them. Wars and destruction are not things we value, Visner. Our prime directive prevents us from interfering in internal struggles. But at the request of all parties, we might negotiate a compromise. Forgive me, but I find that claim insupportable. This world, while grim, hardly looks like a battleground. Who is trying to destroy it?
You can be a really jackass in these choices.
Wars and destruction are not things we value, Visner. Our prime directive prevents us from interfering in internal struggles. But at the request of all parties, we might negotiate a compromise.
Okay.
You open yourself to confusion in speaking with Azra, but it is understandable that you want to hear his side before acting. My assessment of you suggests that most of you will fight the clouding of logic and will see through Azra's deception. Please report to me your success.
Why wait? We've already talked to Azra.
It surprises me that you managed to survive listening to his warped theology. Yours must be a patient life form.
Frankly, Visner, Azra is certainly committed to his cause, but hardly the blood-mad fanatic you describe him to be. Warped theology. It is true they differ greatly from you, but your worldviews are based on common beliefs. You see things from different perspectives, that's all. Frankly, Visner, Azra is certainly committed to his cause, but hardly warped theology. It is...
Are you utterly ungrounded in logic? They are creatures of superstition. They invaded our world, then sought to drive us from it. How can you suggest we are anything alike?
You question my grounding in logic, but you don't apply logic to an examination of Alphen beliefs. Aren't they concerned with the same things you are? You're supposed to be the reasonable one. Your facts can't be very persuasive if you aren't willing to try and find common. You said they usurped your place in the world, which suggests prior ownership by you. What evidence do you have to support
This is pretty good.
We know we came first because they invaded us. An invasion suggests they came to take away that which we possessed. Clearly you can see that.
How do you know they didn't exist on this world before you encountered them?
Do you further suppose they came first and we invaded them?
I see there are only single-celled organisms here, each with a defect. Perhaps at one time, the Alpha and Omega life forms were united. A strong, viable species.
Yeah, this might be like a good idea.
Only by reuniting can you hope to survive. And only through mutual cooperation and our help can you reunite.
Captain, this thing is evil. We can't unite them.
Your position is unassailable and points out the one and only purpose for our races. Thank you, Captain Kirk, for making me see that. Yes, I desire your help for my people. Help us.
Okay.
You take the alpha sample, which feels cold to the touch.
So basically true diversity, because nature is eating nature by definition. It's natural. So both are like too specialized. Now we just need to get the angel dude to
replace previous game.
Understand that.
You get no response. You get no response.
Okay. Spock, do something.
This would appear to be the casing of a larger apparatus. I will now reactivate Azra, Captain.
Okay, you can act. Nice.
Was it not as I said it would be? Are not the Alphans unfeeling, uncaring beings unworthy of life? Did they tell you their lies?
Foul lies? Their position contradicts yours, but there are similarities. You dwell on your differences so much, you just can't see them. Frankly, Azra Visner is quite rational and makes your impassioned pleas for genocide sound psychotic. For a being of goodness, you're rather bloodthirsty.
Nah.
Maybe you should try practicing what you preach. Foul lies? Their position contradicts yours, but there are similarities. You dwell on your differences so much, you just can't see them.
Captain, they're as different as angels and demons.
Similarities? They are beings of shadow. They mock our perfection. They are our antithesis, created after we were to destroy us and our potential for good.
You repeatedly proclaim yourself good and suggest you are morally superior to the Alphans. Why don't you act like it? If you're so perfect, how come you need our help? You said they were created after you were. How do you know that?
We know we came first because that is what our sacred scriptures tell us. In the light we were born and commanded to shun that which dwells in darkness. This clearly tells us that we came first. Surely you can see that? Or is it that you have some other interpretation of the event that birthed the Omegans?
Does your sacred scriptures explicitly say that no beings were created before you?
Dare you suggest they came first?
Let's see what we've got. 2 single-celled organisms, each incapable of survival on their own. One lives in light, the other lives in darkness. Each must live a limited and unstable life without the other.
Captain, do you know what you're doing?
Allow us to unite you again. Your combined strengths will make you a viable entity again.
The persuasiveness of your arguments has opened for me a door through which I spy a future and a truth that I have long denied. You are correct. Perhaps being only half of a whole, I could not see the solution. Yes, I desire your help for my people. Help us.
Yeah, there's several point-and-click games of the Star Trek. I have played 2, no, actually 3. So Star Trek 25th anniversary was like a 1990. The game before this is like a sequel to that. And then there was this 1998 Star Trek Next Generation game that I played. You can find it from my YouTube page. And then there's this Star Trek Resurgence, which was like former Telltale developers made this point-and-click, modern point-and-click game, which you can see from my YouTube page as well. I played it like last year or something. So yeah, there's several point-and-clicks of the Star Trek. Then again, in 1993, remember that Doom was just fresh, and then the shooters kind of took the place of the point-and-click games. So this was like a prime time of the point-and-click games, but that ended like something like 1995, 1996. Okay, so let's take the blue sample here.
The sample dish feels warm to the touch.
Cold and warm. Niinkin monta pitääpä katsella tubesta. Yeah, there's several games. I think the Resurgence was like a best.
For the short term only.
The best, like in the meaning of its most modern point and click.
This colony of creatures appears viable for the short term only.
Okay. not the blue, yellow and blue samples. Oh yeah, I totally forget to scan that.
I don't know why, but I could not get a good sampling.
Boy, these Alphans are healthy little beggars. They're multiplying at a phenomenal rate. These Omegans are incredible. They metabolize almost everything, which explains how they give off that glow.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I could not get a good sampling.
No, I don't think that's necessary. No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, you are standing in the way.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, interesting.
Captain, it is unusual for an officer of Ensign John's skill to be unable to replicate the Alpha sample.
Are you accusing me of lying, Mr. Spock?
There is a 99.97% probability that you are attempting to mislead us. The punishment for intentionally misleading one's commanding officer is court-martial.
Ensign, let Dr. McCoy try that troublesome sequence.
I can do the job, sir, if I can have some peace and quiet here.
Mr. Johns, I think I'm getting a clear picture here of your difficulties. Do you realize that insubordination is an offense punishable by a court-martial? It looks to me that you're deliberately trying to mislead us. That's not a good career move. Calm down, Ensign. No one is criticizing you. I just need answers.
I appreciate the offer, Captain, but I know what's right and wrong here, so I don't need your help.
Ensign, I appreciate your situation, but this is not the time for philosophy. You have a job to do. Ensign, you are here as a genetic engineer, not as a philosopher. I expect my orders to be obeyed, and if you have a problem with them, I don't expect to be deliberately misled. I could really use a Tellarite security officer right now. Ensign, I appreciate your situation, but this is not the time for philosophy. You have a job to do.
You don't understand, Captain. Look at the Alphans and look at the Omegans. There's so much evil in the universe. You're asking me to destroy a race of good and beauty by mixing their genetics with something ugly, something evil. I can't do it.
Ensign, these Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. Those projections are only constructs. Examine them yourself. Could their DNA produce creatures like Azra and Visner? I am asking you to do nothing of the kind, Ensign. You believe in the struggle of good against evil, and I respect that. But the application of your philosophical perspective is misplaced here. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. They are no more capable of good or evil than a tribble. Can't you see that? Ensign, I think you're confusing things. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. While the projections may have seemed sophisticated and human, they are constructs. You can look at the sequence and tell what you have there for DNA. Ensign, these Alphans... Ensign, I think you're confusing things. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures.
Almost the same.
You're right. I've been a real idiot. I suppose I should take a refresher course in Aesop.
It wouldn't hurt. Some of the wisest people in history have written for children.
Never judge an input card by its label. I guess that was the trap I fell into and kept me from doing my job and made me deceive my captain.
If it's any consolation, you're not very good at deception, Ensign.
Thank you, sir. I hope you'll give me a chance to correct my mistakes. Do you think we're really meant to combine the two races?
You've programmed the sequences. You can tell whether they're compatible.
Sir, the sequencer indicates that they need to be combined for their continual survival. But how did you know?
I listened to Dr. McCoy. It seemed the logical conclusion, given the evidence.
Thank you, Captain.
The alpha sample is sequenced, sir.
Okay, McCoy is on the way.
No, I don't think that's necessary. No, I don't think that's necessary. No, I don't think that's necessary. No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, let's McCoy is standing on the way. He's sabotaging the mission now. Okay, no, not standing anymore. Nice.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Why?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, that's probably... Okay, so that's the real place where I need to go.
This sample sequence is like a dream.
Okay, so we have a sample.
I think we need to make sure a combined sample of the two races is stored in the proper machine.
Captain, Ensign Johns would be the ideal person to operate.
Captain, we have to run a set of source samples through the sequencer before I can make a composite sample with the replicator.
This seems pointless. This seems pointless.
The two samples have joined together as easily as if they had once been a whole and had been separated before.
Any race that had this technology 50,000 years ago could possibly have been able to perform such a dissection and kept both halves alive.
Captain, with the samples sequenced together, I'm ready to use the replicator to produce a sample with the combined genetic data.
Okay, finally.
I am producing a new culture, Captain. Captain, the genetic sequence is still stored in the computer. If we need another sample, the replicator can generate it.
Okay, that means that I can actually fail something.
Save new game. Replace previous.
I officially christen this life form, the Gammons.
Okay. Okay, we have a green goo.
This colony of creatures appears viable for the long term, quite vital and thriving.
These combined creatures have a triangular structure. These Gammons have the energy efficiency of the Omegans and the reproductive rate of the Alphans.
What's in here?
There is power going into these circuits, Captain, making it capable of functioning. The computer is functional, but I detect no connection between the keyboard and the machine itself. Apparently, it was designed this way. Nothing unusual about that object, Captain.
Well, Jim, it doesn't look like it does anything. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon.
Nah.
It took it in.
Yes.
It looks as if the colony is getting a foothold in there.
Life energy levels are spiking. They're building to a level sufficient for sending out a signal 100 times stronger than the one that brought us here, Captain.
The Gammon sample appears to be thriving in this environment.
Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you. Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you.
It would appear there is more to this message than we are receiving.
Kirk to Uhura. Are you receiving any strange subspace or radio signals?
Captain, there is a neutrino-based transmission being broadcast near your current position from a point of unknown origin, probably from another star system. Our equipment is not designed to handle it. Though given 1 to 2 weeks, we might be able to identify patterns and extrapolate what it's trying to say.
We'll work on the problem from here. Kirk out.
Okay, so we need to check the antenna. That's probably how it's going to go.
The control mechanism.
Captain, until power has been returned to these controls, there is nothing I can do.
Okay, it's not powered. Huh. But that's not sending them.
This appears to be similar to Federation.
Somebody else has been here.
Mr. Scott requests to know if everything is all right, sir.
Tell Mr. Scott that everything is fine. Kirk out.
Did we explore this fully? Ah, there's 3 of them, maybe. For triangulation.
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage, though support beneath the base is weak and crumbled. It is aligned to a point approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. This array appears focused on a point approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. This appears to be similar to Federation technology, Captain. Its control principles are similar.
Kirk to Enterprise.
Enterprise to Captain. Mr. Scott wishes to know if you're ready to beam up.
Not yet, Uhura. Kirk out.
There's 3 dishes which are not working. And they don't have a power. How they are powered?
The energy level is insufficient, Captain.
Okay, so it's
Generate the energy level
geothermal.
needed to provide geothermal energy with hand phasers.
If it's thermal energy you want, Jim, I remember this planet that used a starship's phasers on a microwave setting to heat the surrounding rock to provide temporary power.
An interesting observation, Doctor. We could use the same technique here, but the beam would have to be extremely precise. If we targeted the wrong section, we could melt the rock and destroy the array. These rocks are...
Yeah, you can shoot there.
Nothing unusual about... Captain, although this rock formation does indirectly lead to the thermal core, I suggest finding an area that would allow a more direct transfer of energy. This appears to be the most accessible spot to heat the rocks below the ground and generate geothermal energy for the array.
Okay.
Kirk to Enterprise. Sulu, can you read me?
Sulu here, Captain. How can I help you?
The The Enterprise should broadcast a low-level microwave beam at the coordinates I am sending.
We have them, Mr. Spock. Get ready. Stand away from the blast area.
Stand by, ready for weapons position.
Sending microwaves now.
Temperature near the power coupling is rising rapidly. I estimate a below-ground temperature of 345 degrees Kelvin is required to reactivate the array. It is at 320, 330, 335, 340, 345, 350.
Shut off the beam, Mr. Sulu.
Affirmative, Captain.
The array is now drawing power. We were successful.
Okay, that was a pixel hunting, really. That's why in modern games you have like this hot button that shows the things that you can interface with. Alright. What's next?
Captain, the parameters of this sensor have been preset. I suggest we do not change them unnecessarily. Captain, these controls do not seem to be functioning properly.
Fix them.
I will need to adjust the controls before the sensor array is realigned. Captain, this array is clear evidence of an ongoing alien interest in this world.
Someone once tried to talk me into buying a retirement villa on a world like this. It was a bargain.
Small wonder that.
Someone selling ice water here would make a fortune.
With zero people.
Scotty, I need a calculation from the main computer.
While I know the computers on the Enterprise aren't quite as good as her engines, I think she'll manage.
I am sending the problem.
Ugh, that was too easy, Mr. Spock. The angle is 32.5 degrees.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
So is there anything else you need, Captain?
Not now, Scotty. Kirk out.
I am now attempting to realign the device to 32.5 degrees. It should now be correctly aligned.
And the third... What was the problem with the third one?
Captain, the parameters of this sensor have been preset. I suggest we do not change them unnecessarily.
Okay, so only I needed to like heat them up and just punch the one coordinates here. So let's see if anything has changed.
Thank you, Captain, for your aid in constituting my people and in the unexpected necessary realignment of our communications array. You have performed admirably. Of the 16 stations reporting at this point, there have been 50% fatalities, 30% other failures, and only 20% successes. One group got points for style.
Points for style? Is this some sort of game?
Points for style.
Not another alien race with a superiority complex. Who are you this time?
I feel all of these are correct.
Appreciation is welcome, but many questions remain unanswered. Who are you?
Who are you?
I am Sisissa, a projection of a synthesis of Ozra and Visner. Clearly you know that the primitive life forms you have been dealing with are incapable of creating that in which you now stand. You will also note that the more demonic of the creatures displayed a passivity you did not expect. while the morally pure creature was aggressive and bloodthirsty.
The contradictions were noted and duly dealt with. I take it you were testing us on our ability to deal with disparate and contradictory inputs.
Yes, your reasoning ability was being tested, as well as your ability to adapt to new ideas when they conflict with deeply held beliefs and cultural customs. You passed quite admirably. The Brassica are impressed.
I'm not clear on who the Brassica are.
Captain, from this site, I can deduce various things about the Brassica. They are taller and more slender than we are. They are possessed of 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. I suppose bilateral symmetry, and I know they possess greater visual acuity than humans. They visited this place well before humans had left the Cro-Magnon stage of development. And I note they have avoided detection by us, and presumably every other race in the universe, before they decided to send out signals to bring us to their bases.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
And more you shall know as you continue on the quest. I wish you luck.
Kirk to Enterprise. Scotty, 4 to beam up.
Right.
Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
In this case, Bones, a new beginning. We were the midwives for the rebirth of a life form. 2 halves that have been made whole again. That's the way it was meant to be.
And let us hope that this is the end of Ensign John's prejudices.
We can all learn to stop judging people by appearances. Ensign Johns might have done well to remember the biblical representation of Lucifer, appearing in the guise of an angel of light.
You can never trust anybody.
Point.
And people who look like pointy-eared hobgoblins are definitely at the bottom of the list.
It appears that Dr. McCoy did not learn the lesson of this mission either. Unfortunate, but not unexpected.
Fortunately, the Alphans and the Omegans learned philosophy and personal belief are not as easily divorced from logic as some would believe. We humans attain our greatest fulfillment when both of them are united.
Really, Captain?
Really. But I've had enough philosophy for one day. I'd rather worry about these Brassica and their cosmic quest.
Well, with me aboard, we're sure to get points for style.
Nah.
Many questions remain unanswered, Captain.
And there's only one way to answer them.
Captain, message from Starfleet.
Bring it up, Lieutenant.
I reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. The top brass at Starfleet are impressed with the results of your recent performance. Outstanding work, Jim. Keep up the good work. Kane out.
Ahead, Mr. Sulu. Warp factor 5.
Leaving orbit. Increasing to warp factor 5.